and where we're at, the 250,000 to 350,000 is the most competitive 2030 offers here in Austin. What's the price point up there in Dallas that's the most competitive?
Most competitive price point right now is 250. If you're buying something in the 250 range, you got to come hard. And I explain that to people, and to the average homeowner who is doing an FHA loan and doesn't have a lot of money down. It's just a struggle right now, not because they're bad people, but because the market is so competitive. You'll get someone who comes in with cash and says, "Well, I can pay $260 for this." And you have an FHA loan. The loan, the appraiser has to agree with the price. So if you try to offer any more than what the house is worth, you're going to lose it because their financing won't allow that, right? So then you get people who, it's okay, we got 250, we got 260 in cash. People are taking money out of their investment account,
right,
and buying up properties left and right. So 250 is definitely that mark. Once you get to 300, it starts to kind of slow down. But depending on where it's at, like if you're up north, Plano, Frisco, you're not going to get $1,000 easily. And even we just sold a house in Arlington in an older, undeveloped area where the homes were built in the 50s. And I sold that house as a wooden house for $200,000. You see what I'm saying? And I always, it's funny when I have these conversations with my older relatives, particularly my mother. She says, I would never pay that much money for that house. And I said, well, Mom, you paid $90,000 at 10%. So essentially you did pay that much for the house. You know what I'm saying?
You did.
So we just got to learn the game. We just got to learn it. We'll be all right.
Well, and here too, I think we get stuck in, it used to be this much over here, right? Like that's the number one thing I hear from people, especially in Austin. Well, it used to be $80,000 for these houses, and y'all paying $400,000. That's stupid. Is it stupid? Right? So you're like, it depends on who you are. Like in the neighborhood we lived in off Runberg, my roommate bought the house for $280,000. In a year and a half later, she sold it for $400,000. You talk to the black neighbors over there, like, hey, why y'all ain't selling? You've been here 30 years. Where would we go? And so
that's a real question right there. That's a real question. And a lot of people don't have a place to go. So then when you have the redevelopment, and it's like, I think a lot of times we can sit back from the co-pilot seat and make assumptions as to why a person's in a situation that they're in or not. For example, I had to meet with some people in the community about redevelopment. There was a person who wanted to apply to build multifamily in a single family area. And everyone that came out in opposition, they were older black people. They all owned their homes. They were retired. And I just couldn't get the applicant to understand their frustration. And he's like, well, we have a housing shortage. I'm trying to better this community, all this crime. And I had to explain to him, the people that are here complaining, they're not the ones committing the crime. They're the ones who've been here for 50 or 60 years. This is their community.
Hey everybody, this is DJ the Money Coach coming to you to celebrate our victories with the Classy Climb. Over 9,000 views. Over 400 people attended the 2 webinars. Over 200 people downloaded the Family Finance 101 curriculum. That's 3 hours, 18 modules, teach you how to get your credit score 30 to 60 points higher in 60 days. Teach you how to become consumer debt free, pay yourself first, open a corporation, and leverage the tax laws through businesses, real estate. And to prove how that works, I've done it. And we'll do it for you with the digital family finance booklet. We'll give you a bonus complimentary consultation worth $1,200 with me and 2 other our team members. We'll also give you this bonus webinar, but you got to hit the link now for the Black Friday special, and we will help you win in 2021. Hit the link. Come join us.
So they should have an input. And he just, the applicant just couldn't see their point or our point, and eventually
he's building an apartment.
He was trying to build a couple of fourplexes, which sounds good as an investor, but you have to understand there's also a community dynamic to it as well. You can't go to the north side of town and just throw up something in an established neighborhood. They're not going to do it. So you can't come to the south side of town and expect that as well. And too often when our people stand up and say, well, you shouldn't be doing this, you're trying to run us off, then they get called, lazy, or they're told that they're criminals, or they're a part of the problem that's going on. That's not the case. The case is they've been in that community for 40, 50 years, 60 years in some cases, and they just want a place to call home, and there's nothing wrong with a person feeling that way. Well, on the flip side, as investors, like you and myself, we have to have integrity when we come into these areas to improve them, because what's an improvement to my bottom line may not be an improvement to their community.
Right.
Essentially, could be setting them up to be kicked out. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
and even walking trails, all kind of stuff. I remember they were trying to put walking trails in this neighborhood, and the people didn't want it because it was like they were going to take their front yards and not really compensate them, if that's the word I'm looking for.
That's the right word. Compensation is everything.
Like, they just going to take your front yard. We putting this sidewalk here. Get over it. Right. Kind of thing. Now I went down to Deep Ellum, and on a Sunday, and it was a Sunday fun day. It was a vibe. I was laughing because it was Martin Luther King and Malcolm X Street, but it was there was plenty of us there that day and there the night before. But when it comes to when I talk to people about the Deep Ellum area, they're like, we don't live over there no more. Is that true or is that not true?
Well, Deep Ellum is an interesting neighborhood. Deep Ellum, part of it falls in my district, so it's the very bottom part of it. Kind of bleeds into Deep Ellum, but it's an interesting area because it's a neighborhood, if you will. There's a lot of bars, taverns, and things of that nature there. That's what it's known for. But within the past 5 to 6 years, you've seen an influx of residential, particularly apartments. There's a lot of high rises. There are a few high rises that have been built there, and naturally, it attracts the younger millennials, if you will, by default. Because it's just a good place to, you want to live and where you play and play where you live, right?
Ride your scooter around the corner,
Scooter around, right? But here's the thing, though. And I don't want to beat up on anyone too bad, but we always know that there's an opportunity for us to take advantage of growth, but we apply haste and we won't do it. And then when someone else comes to do it, sometimes we cry foul, right? So Deep Ellum wasn't a place where people just lived like that, over the past 20 years. But now it's becoming a residential mecca, if you will, because of the proximity to downtown. So you got to ask yourself, what are we doing to retain the wealth that we have, and how are we working together collectively to make sure that wealth is distributed properly? And that's where we always tend to fall short.
Hey, Classy Climbers, have you ever thought about starting a family bank? If so, you would want to join us at familybankchallenge.black. That's familybankchallenge.black. We have all sorts of resources with regards to you learning about what a family bank is, how to structure it, how to create 100-year family wealth plans, and so much more. So familybankchallenge.black to learn more information.
And here's something, and I see you guys' comments. Somebody asked, how can they come work for you?
You don't work for me. You don't want to work for me. I'm hard to work.
Tim over there, that office. You don't want that.
It's so funny. I always tell people, if anybody who knows me is watching this, I was always taught, don't meet your heroes, right? Because then once you start getting around people, you realize they're human just like you, and they're not as perfect. And a lot of times, every time I've employed a lot of people, particularly from my community, and I get the same feedback from all of them, like, man, Tim, you're a different person when it comes to work. It's because when it comes to that money, when it comes to, operating a certain kind of way, you have to be, you got to be legit, especially if you're a black man, so I turn off all the funny stuff and all the joking and stuff. And I get down to, the meat and potatoes, and a lot of people don't like work, Tim. So if you want to come work for me, just make sure you have some thick skin. All right. Because Eric, you've been in my office. I run a tight ship.
Listen, Tim, you can sit over that corner over there. Eric, sit over there. Now, I'll put it to you this way. I've had lots
knocking your pay. No,
I've had a lot of workers, and the one, I say two of them knew me personally. But out of one of the two, she had to bounce. She didn't like it. She was like, "Oh, you're different." I'm like, "Yeah, because we got to make phone calls here. We got to do emails.
We make it look easy," and that's another thing. And I hope we can talk about this if I'm going too off the deep end, reel me in. But a lot of times, we as a people don't appreciate the work that comes with it. Collectively, or at least that's the impression. There's a lot of work. Everyone online is selling you get rich quick. You can make this money, but the people that I follow, you and other people like, that deal with the trucks and things of that nature and investments, that's slow money that's going to build you wealth. You see what I'm saying? You're going to make a little money off of it. Let's not get it twisted. When we had trucks, it was a bill for us, right?
Listen, it can be a bill.
But we didn't follow. We went a different route, though, right? So I didn't have the blueprint that you guys sell when I did it, right? So my first experience with trucks was making a $3,000 a month payment during the worst time of the year to buy a truck, which is December. Nobody told me that, right? So So I say that to say this: when you're going into something like real estate and when you're looking to invest, do your research, do your homework. Understand it's not going to be pretty all the time. There's going to be some bumps in the road. Like you said, a person wanted to sell a house because they had a plumbing issue or whatever it was. We just recently had to redo our plumbing. It was a $30,000 job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? On an older house, you know? So that happens, right? And then we had a tenant inside, right? So we had to put the tenant up in a hotel. At one point in the game, we had to get a porta potty. Like, and this work happened the day before Christmas Eve is when the problem took place, right? So just imagine that. It's an hour before Christmas, 7 o'clock on the 23rd, and I get a call that the plumbing is messed up, right? That's a part of the game. And as long as you can plan for that stuff financially, then you're good. But a lot of times we get into it and we don't have the funds for the oh crap moment. And then it goes.
Yeah. I'm still I wrote it down. Don't meet your heroes. Listen, I'm telling you, like
somebody said, Tam said everybody wants it fast, but sometimes things take years. Tam, listen, like that's the realest thing I've seen. Like it takes years to build wealth. Erica, people thought Erica was crazy 5 years ago when she was posting these classy climb videos and getting 10 to 15 likes. Now this is a wave because of the consistency, right? So we have to know going into any investment that there's going to be a wave that comes with it, but you're going to have to bust your butt, and then it's going to essentially materialize, and it'll happen overnight in some cases. But it's not an overnight win. It's you working countlessly until that overnight opportunity presents itself. You know.
Hi. My name is Annette Worth, and I've been able to teach over 200 students, beginners, how to get started investing in the stock market. My first course, Stock Market Course for Beginners, easily teaches you how to read a stock chart so you know when to purchase a stock on sale. My second course is How to Build a Winning Watch List. This is how you know which company you should be investing in, what makes up a good company. You'll be able to read a stock chart, know when to purchase a stock, and know which companies to pick. Investing in the stock market isn't hard, we just wasn't taught about it in school. The hardest part about building wealth is just getting started. Are you ready to start today? Click the link in the bio or go to annetsworth.com to enroll today.